Hello and welcome to Ontario One Call's training regarding the upcoming changes effective on or before July 24th, 2017. Please note that during this demonstration, if you have questions or wish to provide feedback, we have a logged chat feature that can be found here. Just click on the little plus in your control panel and type normally into the space provided. Once all training is completed, Ontario One Call will create an FAQ covering all pertinent questions and email a copy of that FAQ directly to you. Further, we will post a copy of that FAQ to our website. Also, if you're looking for additional details on how to use Ontario One Call's web services, please visit on1call.com for that specific training. Currently, excavators have three options for inputting tickets into the Ontario One Call system at this time. By phone, which is geared towards requests for homeowners and for our priority and emergency locate systems. Via the web, which is geared towards professional contractors and owners of infrastructure. And via the contractor bridge, which will link your work management system to our ticketing system. The changes that will occur by July 24th, 2017 will improve the mapping portion of the web system only. Ontario One Call will be making the following features available effective on or before July 24th, 2017 on the web, which we will be discussing in depth today. When you enter a valid address into the address field, Ontario One Call will show you an approximate location for the site via an address pinpoint. Ontario One Call will provide a measuring tool on the map. Refreshing the map after a map selection will now be controlled by the user via a refresh button. And a tool will be provided in assisting excavators who need to make multiple map selections. We'll be going over a number of scenarios today. They are all fictitious, and any relation to projects proposed or underway is not intended, nor should be inferred. Now, I'm sure you're all of you are experts at getting to the web portal by now, so I will skip the preamble and just log right in. As normal, I click I agree regarding the waiver. The waiver has not changed. I'll be logging in using my username and password. If I had forgotten my password, there is a Forgot Your Password Reset button down here. I'll get it reset. I'll just click Login to finish logging in. And again, all my options are available to me. I can create a ticket or create a project. I can search for tickets via the search engine. And my account settings are held up here. Let's start off by making a standard ticket at a single address. Later we have some project tickets and some other standard tickets as well. Now if you only have one ID associated with your login, this screen will not appear. If you have multiple contractor IDs associated to your login, you must select the appropriate ID to create your ticket or tickets from the drop-down list. Keep in mind the appropriate use of contractor IDs when your IDs contain either alternate locate agreements or suppressions. To learn more about ALAs or suppressions, email solutions@on1call.com. The tickets that I'm going to be inputting today, none of them fall under my alternate locate agreements, so I will be exclusively using my non-ALA ID 228597. Next, you'll land on the Locate Request Creation page that will have your contact information, which is all based on your account settings. Once you've confirmed your contact information, you will fill out the Working For field down here. In this example, we're going to be working for a homeowner, which I can select from the dropdown. Next, you'll need to fill out the municipality or community that you'll be working in. You can begin by typing the first few letters and the list will appear. If your municipality does not appear, type more letters or scroll through the list. Please note you must select from the drop-down menu or you will receive an error at submission. For today's example, we will be working in London, Ontario. Next, you would typically fill out the address where you would be digging, including civic number or house number, lot number or unit number if that's applicable, and the street name. Like municipality, you can type in the first few letters in the street name and pick from the dropdown. For this excavation, we're going to be working at a 110 Mountain View Crescent. Next, you'll need to identify the two nearest cross streets to your dig location. Most of the time, the system will suggest them for you under the intersection 1 and intersection 2 fields. As always, if they do not appear, begin typing and select each one from the drop-down menu, similar to how you provided the dig street name. If the street names do not appear in the drop-down menu, please ensure you have the correct information before submitting your request to avoid waiting for agent review. Selecting a cross street from the drop-down menu significantly decreases the chances of your ticket being needed to be reviewed. If the correct information appears in the drop-down and you do not want your ticket to be reviewed by an agent, kindly select from the drop-down the correct information. The cross street here, however, provided is correct. It is Pine Valley Drive. In some places, like streets ending with Crescent, Court, or Place, you may only have one intersection available, and this is one such example. Note here that the intersection 2 field is not required, and the red asterisk is not beside it. Now we need to advise whether the address is a corner lot or not. According to my estimator and the sheet that he filled out earlier, this particular address is not a corner lot, which I will now select. Now, if the civic number is not provided or multiple civic numbers are provided, a answer to the corner lot question is not needed and the field will be grayed out. After you provide your dig information, you're ready to use the mapping tool. Our system will pull up a satellite image of the area based on the dig location that you provided. And here's where the first place you're going to see some changes. Just click no thank you there. Ontario OneCall currently provides a high detailed satellite map where you can select the location of your excavation. By July 24th, 2017, if you place a civic address or green number in the address or civic address list fields, a pinpoint will drop onto the map, as you can see here. The location is approximate. The pinpoint may show right over the property or centrally on the lot. This happens really based on the size of the property. If the system does not recognize the address, the pinpoint may just simply drop along the road. Map selection is not yet available over the phone or contractor bridge. These and other changes are a direct result of your feedback and in support of our upcoming change for map selection notification that's coming in December 2017. As a reminder, the map selection tool is used for reference only at this time. However, the change to the map selection notification in December 2017, we will use your map selection to see which owners of infrastructure need to be notified about your work activity. For this example, we're going to be doing a driveway replacement and a fence replacement. So we're going to pan and zoom our way to a good location where we can see the address and the cross street as well. Yeah, that ought to work right here. Excellent. Once you've panned and zoomed, next you'll use the drawing tool, which allows you to digitally outline where your work will take place. You can select either, through the icon, either draw a shape or draw a line. But which one do you choose? Lines are great if your job is linear. You're going from one place to another. Good examples of this are works involving pipes and cable installation or replacement or repair, or fence work. Shapes are great for selecting an area, like for trees, boreholes, decks, driveways. Some types of work lend themselves to both. Sidewalks are a good example where you could use the line tool to show you're replacing or installing a series of new sidewalk bays from one location to another, or use the shape tool to show that you're replacing just one or two sidewalk bays, or repairing utility cuts, and both of those you could use with equal safety. It is critical that you select your dig area correctly with the correct drawing tool. With the notification system changes pending in December 2017, an owner of infrastructure could be missed if you select the incorrect dig area by using the incorrect drawing tool. If you are concerned that you are not selecting the correct drawing tool, please contact solutions@on1call.com with an example ticket number and questions concerning your work area for feedback. In this case, we're going to start off by selecting the driveway at 110 Mountain View. Once you begin drawing, the map will lock. This is so you don't lose your place. Go. If you're unsatisfied with the location, you're going to need to remove your drawing in order to move the map. Begin by clicking where you want the drawing to begin. Note that the color of lines during this period are red. You can finish the shape by double-clicking. After that, a box will come up asking you to name your selection. In this case, I will name it 110 Mountain View. Note that once we've completed the drawing, the color of the lines changes to green. Our job entails both a driveway and the fence, so we'll need to make a second selection for the fence. I'm going to choose the draw tool again, and I will draw a line. Note with the line feature, we can provide a dimension, which is width. The dimension is currently set to 3 feet as a default. You can increase the size if you wish. We will just give it a name though, and that is fence. And I will keep the 3-foot dimension. To save the map selection to my request, I'll need to scroll down and click Attach Sketch. Now here you can view, download, or delete your map selection as you see fit. You cannot edit the attached map selection. If you don't like the map selection, please delete it and start again. If you would like to upload your own sketch, that's fine. Click the Attach a File button, which will allow you to select a file from your computer. The following formats are accepted: BMP, JPEG, PNG, GIF, and PDF. The file size cannot exceed 5 megabytes per attachment. An uploaded sketch does not replace a map selection. In December 2017, Ontario OneCall will begin using the map selection to select the owners of infrastructure who need to be notified of your excavation. The next step to creating a ticket is to provide us additional details about your dig. The first section you come to is dig size. As a reminder, with 2 types of work, we need to select the deepest excavation. A driveway replacement is only going to be going about 18 inches deep, but the fence replacement is going to be 4 feet at maximum. So I will place 4 feet as my maximum depth. Width, length, and direction are not mandatory, but they are very helpful, so fill in the information whenever you have it available. The next area below requires that you check boxes that apply to your job, stating if you're digging on public or private property, whether you're going to be working in a pre-marked area or not. whether you're going to be digging with machine tools, hand tools, or otherwise. You need to check something in each of these selections. And please note, anytime you select hand dig as a checkbox, the website will remind you of the definition of hand digging, which you must select I understand to and click OK before proceeding. If you don't agree, you can click cancel and the system will remove the hand dig selection. The driveway is going to head out onto public property. The fence is on private property, so I will select both. We'll be using both machine tools and hand tools for these jobs, so I will select both in this case, and I will understand that a shovel and spade are hand digging tools and only those tools. And we've asked the homeowner to mark the area out in white with some flags that we dropped off with the signed contract for the job. So I will check off pre-marked. You can also indicate that you will use a directional drill or other trenchless methods of excavation here in the optional information area. That really doesn't apply to driveway or fence work though. Also in optional information, you can request a mark and fax or indicate if a site meeting is requested. Mark and fax is having an infrastructure owner respond by marking out the area and faxing back your completed locates. Requesting a site meet is typical in situations where access to the location or difficulty is difficult, either the location or property is difficult, like digging on a secure site where a locator may be greeted by security guards. We would like a mark and email in this instance, so we're going to select neither mark and fax nor site meet required or requested, and scroll down and just type in mark and email into the notes. By default, you will see the work to begin date section filled out for 5 business days from the date you are requesting. If you wish to provide more notice, simply change the date forward. Keep in mind that members have until the end of that date to make all reasonable attempts at completing your locate before it is considered late. You can submit locates up to 1 year in advance of your intended dig. Members will only be notified about your dig 10 days prior to your selected work to begin date if you choose this option. Next, choose the closest type of work from the drop-down list provided. This tells us why you're digging. With 2 types of work, I really don't have the ability to select one. I'm going to choose one that reflects the depth of excavation, which I'm going to choose as fence. Lastly, I'll need to fill in the detailed description of work field. This is the field where you must provide additional information about your scope of work that was not included in the fields above. Some examples of information you could include in this field are the distance and direction to your dig location from the provided intersections, the specifics about your dig location, including the side of property you're working on, the front, back, or side, and if side, which side, whether you're working on both sides of the road, if you're working in the road, on-site contact name and number, if that's applicable. If the area is pre-marked, how is it identified? If you run out of space, you can continue your note into the remarks field below. Do not include instructions like marking additional streets or addresses that are not on the same block. Those need to become separate tickets. This locate is really only valid for the location identified in the dig location portion, as only members with infrastructure in the vicinity of the dig location will be notified. Just keep in mind, providing more information is the best practice for safe digging. All stakeholders want you to outline your work area in 3 ways: digitally with a sketch or map selection, verbally by referring to fixed structures, physically with paint or flags when conditions permit. Our best advice is to pretend that the members receiving the locate may not receive the map selection. Paint them a picture with your words. So for this work, we're going to state the following. At front, replacing driveway. And at back, replacing fence. Area marked with flags. White flags. And the driveway the driveway and fence are going in roughly the same location as existing. Once you've entered in all that information, click the Save button at the bottom of the page. As before, if you're missing any information when you click Save, you will see an error message that will let you know what you have missed and what you need to fill out. After that, you'll see a waiver appear concerning the maximum depth of excavation. And basically what we're saying with this waiver is if you, while on site, need to change the maximum depth of excavation to something deeper after the ticket has been created, you need to update your ticket with Ontario OneCall before continuing with your excavation. I'm going to click I understand and OK. If you're not missing any information, you'll be taken to this ticket review screen. You can review, edit, delete, or add new tickets, or finish processing your request. If you need to change something on this ticket, you can scroll down and click on the edit button. If you decide you don't need to proceed with this work before entering the ticket, you can click on delete. The next set of tickets I'm going to input are actually project tickets. So I'm going to click on Process. As always, you'll see either a confirmation of which members are being notified or a message that the ticket is under review by an agent. And note, ticket review may take up to 24 hours before an agent will reach out with questions if that is so necessary. The address pinpoint feature also works with multiple civic addresses, which we'll show you a little bit later on. Now, we've already seen me input a standard ticket, so let's do a culvert project. I'm going to click on Home and then Create Project. I will choose my regular ID 228597. I'll make any temporary changes to this work here. I'll include my fax number. For this work, the work is actually being done on behalf of the town of Essex. For the work that we're going to do next, I'm going to show you how the measuring tool works. We're going to be replacing some cross culverts as part of an ongoing municipal project. The next excavation, of course, will take me to the town of Essex. And by the way, there's a neat little shortcut I want to show you. Essex is both a county with multiple municipalities in it and its own separate municipality. Now, if you type out the name of municipality correctly and add a space and a comma, this situation is much easier to select. The instructions I have from the municipality give us measurements from intersections as to where the new cross culverts need to go. The next jobs are in the series are on Moleside Road or are reference Moleside Road in some ways. Our first location is going to be on Moleside Road. And it's between North Malden Road and Malden Road. You'll note we can skip the corner lot or intersection question. Our instructions state the first culvert we're replacing is approximately 382 meters south of North Malden Road. I say no, I do not need the tutorial. I'm going to zoom out so I can get a broad overview of the area I'm looking at. Let's just scroll down a little bit, get all my tools in this frame at once. North Malden Road is up here. I think, yep, there we go, North Malden Road. And here's the next tool. By July 24th, 2017, Ontario OneCall will provide a measuring tool for excavators to use in order to make measurements on the map. To use it, choose the measuring tool found at the top left. You'll note that I have the option to measure in either feet or meters. I click once to start measuring. Note that the measured distance is a dotted line and is currently red. I'll measure the distance required and then double click. That was nice close. That's pretty close to 382. Now the line is green and becomes dotted. I'm going to change my zoom level until I'm satisfied with my work area. I've got it all captured in one map selection. There we go. Now I'll choose the shape tool and select my work area. We'll name that one Culvert 1. Note that my measurements disappeared momentarily while I was making the selection, and they came back very quickly. So how does the measuring tool actually work? Well, the computer calculates the distance based on how many pixels it crosses, so it's all based on scale. Up to a point, the closer you're zoomed in, the more accurate the measuring tool will actually be. Once the image starts to get a little bit blurry, the measuring tool will become less accurate. You can make multiple measurements by clicking on the measuring tool and making another measurement if you so choose, but we do not need to do that in this situation. And click Attach, and I kind of want to show you what the utilities, the owners of infrastructure, and the locate service providers will receive. And click on View. Now you'll see that the label for the distance doesn't actually stay, but it is kind of in there. There is still a dotted line along here to show a measurement, and the measurement is there, 381.9 meters, very faintly in the background. Next, I'm going to fill up my other bits of information. I'll be going no deeper than 6 feet. I'll be working on public property only. I have not pre-marked the area. I'll be working both by machine and hand. I will request a mark and fax, which is why I inputted a fax number earlier. I'll select my type of work as culvert. And now I need to provide my instructions. We're replacing cross culvert, and it's approximately 382 south of North Malden Road on Mole Side Road. I'm working on both sides of the road. I'm adding that just in case somebody doesn't know what a cross culvert is, or the difference between a driveway culvert, regular culvert, cross culvert. And again, I've written this description in a way that if you couldn't see the map selection, you could go out to the site and figure out where I'm digging. Now I'm going to scroll down and click Save. Again, the depth waiver appears, and I'm going to click I understand and OK, and move on. My next job, I will click Add. Now I've got 2 more cross culverts. Both of them are on North Malden Road. So let's scroll down and put that in as my dig street. Both the distances that I have here reference Mole Side Road, so I'll have that as my first intersecting road. Now, one is east and one is west of Mole Side Road, so we're going to create that into two separate tickets. West of Moleside Road would be between Moleside Road and Highland Side Road. So I'll have that as my second cross street for my first location. Again, we get to skip the intersecting, the corner lot question. I'll say no thank you to the tutorial and zoom out a little bit. Now I can always check my cross streets with the information that we have on the map as well. That's kind of handy. But I will zoom out to the appropriate distance here. I will pan over. There we go. I can see Moleside Road. I'll select the measuring tool. And the distance I have here is 432 meters west of Moleside Road on North Malden Road. 432. Zoom out again. Zoom in again. .435 is pretty close. I'll just zoom out again so I can see Moleside Road. Again, I will make my selection with the Draw a Shape tool, going across the road, capturing the location. I'll name this area Culvert 2. And click Save. Now, if I wanted to redo my measurement for whatever reason, all I need to do is click on the Erase tool, and I can start my measurement all over again. I can scroll down, and the measurements stay pretty much the same. We're replacing a cross culvert. It's going to be, again, 432 meters west of Moleside Road. On North Malden Road. And we're still working both sides of the road. I'll scroll down, select Save. I understand and OK. Attach the map selection. Note that if you don't attach the map selection before you click on Save, it'll ask you if you want to. I've got one more location to add. This one's the location east of Moleside Road on North Malden Road, so we'll put in North Malden again. And that's going to be between Moleside Road and Concession 13. I'll zoom out a bit, center my map. The location is 410 meters east of Moleside Road on North Malden Road. 410.8 doesn't get much better than that. Again, I'll click on the Draw a Shape tool. Again, everything kind of disappears. I will select my area, label it Culvert 3, and click Save. And attach it. Here the instructions get even easier. All I need to do is change the measurement from 432 to 410, and from west to east. Now I'm 410 meters east of Mole Side Road on North Malden Road, doing a culvert on public property in an unmarked area by machine and hand to a depth of 6 feet with a marking fax requested. Lastly, I'll click on Save, that I understand the depth waiver, and OK. One thing to note, the crews that we have out in Essex County can really only complete about 3 culverts per day, given that the requirement is for immediate site restoration after we start excavation. So I'm only going to enter 3 at this time. I'd enter another 3 tomorrow. I could enter more if I just change the work to begin date forward to a more appropriate date. So I just keep following what my crews are able to complete. I do have one more project. So I'm going to click on Process for this particular project and send it off. Excellent, everything auto-processed. I'll click Home and Create Project. Again, with my regular ID. This particular project is a major road reconstruction in Toronto. It's not a major road, it's just major reconstruction, at least for us. With this project, I've got a couple more features to show you. In this case, I'll be doing work for the City of Toronto. And I'll be working in North York, which is a smaller area of Toronto. Go. My next job is a rehab of water mains, sewers, road structure, all on Consumers Road. Phase 1, we're going to be going from Victoria Park Avenue to the south leg of Yorkland Boulevard. So I'm going to start off with the street as Consumers. Victoria Park is my first cross street. Yorkland is my second. Again, we skip the corner lot intersection question. It is moot at this point. I do not need to see the tutorial. This is a good zoom level. Now, the later phases are going to complete the rest of Consumers Road. We're really only concentrating the first 880 meters or so. This is going to require multiple map selections for this particular job. And this is really where the next 2 features really come into place. By July 24th, 2017, Ontario OneCall will provide a multiple selections display tool. Also, in an effort to optimize load times on the page, Ontario OneCall will let you choose when the map will refresh on your ticket, rather than it happening automatically. So let's see how both work. I'm going to start to move into position. Again, the zoom level is just fine. I'm just looking for my starting area, which will be, here we go, there's Yorkland. And that there is the south leg of it. I'll put myself into that corner, good. So again, I'm going to be starting at the south leg of Yorkland Boulevard at that intersection here. I'm just going to pan up a little bit so I can select it a little bit easier. That's much better. I'll follow Consumers Road. All the way down to as far as I can reach. And I think that's pretty enough. We're going to label this selection Zone 1 and attach it. After it's been attached, if we scroll back up, the map has been replaced by a map refresh button. And this is what we mean by you being able to control when the map refreshes. Right now, the page will automatically refresh and will not let you continue with a locate until the map has been repopulated. This change, coming on or before July 24th, 2017, allows you to control whether the map refreshes or not, and will allow you to continue based on whichever option you choose. On lower bandwidth connections and on days with vigorous activity, this change serves to quicken the pace which you can request locates. I do have more selections to make, so I'm going to click on the map refresh button, like so. And keep the same zoom level and pan down. And now you can see outlined in gray the image of Zone 1's selection. This allows me to resume my map selection and continue. These gray lines cannot be edited, but they serve as an excellent resource for my next leg. I will again select the Draw a Shape tool. I will start there at the beginning. Continue to follow consumers as far as I can. This will become, unsurprisingly, Zone 2. And we're almost done. I just need to get from my one last selection, my Zone 3, if you will. Here we go, there's Zone 2. There's my junction, there's Zone 1. If I keep going over here, there's Hall Crown and Victoria. I'll select my shape tool, start off again, go as far over as I need to on Victoria. And call this Zone 3. Now, I'll click Attach here, and we'll just review this last attachment so you can see that while we were referencing each selection point on the map, when the locator or utility or whomever receives this particular locate, they're not going to see our reference points. They're only going to see the zones that we specifically asked for. It's just as you drew them. Okay, moving on. My maximum depth of excavation for this road rehab will be 12 feet. It will be by machine in hand. It'll be on public property only. The area is not marked. And let's go for mark and fax in this instance. I'll put my fax number back in at the top. For my type of work, I'm going to state water main. Ooh. Apparently my fax number wanted to go away. go. We'll choose the right type of work. Water main rather than mailbox. There we go. We could use directional drills to install this pipe. This is a fairly congested area, even for Toronto, with some pretty sensitive stuff. I don't think trenchless methods of excavation are really going to work out well for us in the long run. And our bid mainly started with open trenching anyway. So we won't use those tools at this time. My detailed description of work. Well, how about this? We're going to work from the south curb face of the south leg of Yorkland Boulevard to west curb face of Victoria Park. And from boulevard to boulevard up to the sidewalks. Give them all my types of work. Road rehab, replacing water main, storm, sanitary. I'm also going to leave another bit of contact information for them. 416-222-1234. There we go. Really, in this case, what I need are some locates to get me started on this project. Rob's going to be the person who's going to coordinate the work crews. He can probably also coordinate the locates for me as well. So I'm going to click on Save. That I understand and everything's okay. And process. That's my last project there. And that's really all the new stuff. Many of you have been asking for some example scenarios, specific instances where we see some good practices on how to use Ontario One Call's web service. And we'd like to show them to you. Let's start off with an easy scenario. One we frequently get is, how do I select multiple locations? And that kind of depends. Each ticket should be about a block in length at maximum, a street between two cross streets. We've seen people ask for a whole city in a single ticket. That's just really not allowed at all. So if your scenario is multiple addresses, we see this very frequently. Let's say you're a contractor or a utility and you have multiple addresses on the same block that you need, and you have the same job you need to do at each. Let's say you're you're an in-ground pool contractor, and you've got 3 addresses on the same block that you want to go and input. Well, we're going to click on Create New Ticket, select our correct ID here, and get going. How do you input such a job? Well, as you see, we started with a regular ticket. This type of work really doesn't fit the project work definition. We're not going to take more than 30 days to go complete this work. It's just digging a whole bunch of holes. Deep holes, big holes, but they're just holes. Next, again, I confirm my contact information. We're going to be doing work for the homeowner in this instance. Our location is for pool installations in Kenora. So we'll type in Kenora, and again, I'm using that space comma trick. So here's where things get a little bit interesting. We're going to enter in the first address, which is 406 7th Ave South in Kenora. Now, according to the estimate that my inspector has filled out, The address is between 4th and between 6th Avenue South. So I'm not going to continue on with inputting the corner lot information quite yet, but these cross streets are correct. What I am going to do is I'm going to click on Add. And I have another customer on the same block, wants the same treatment. That's number 438. So we'll enter that and click Add. Oh, and before I get to the map, I've got one more customer up here, 429. Click Add on that one too. So let's see what that's done to the map. Let's scroll down, click the map refresh button. There we go. There are 3 locations, all raring for me to go for pool installations. Hooray! 3 addresses, 3 pinpoints. I can click on the pinpoints and find out which one is which. Note again that some pinpoints fall on a building and some fall on the road. That's, again, just due to the size of the individual properties. So let's select an area behind each of the properties with the Shape tool. Now, this one's a bit of a corner lot. Putting the pool roughly here. I'm not even going to give it a label. Second pool goes here, kind of behind and beside. Oh, not that one. Sorry. Goes behind and beside this location here. And then final pool goes up here. Big old Olympic-sized one. Done. So, we've selected the area. Now we need to fill in some details. Let's attach this as our map selection. Our type of work here is pretty easy. It's a pool. We're working on private property only. We're working in unmarked area. We'd like a mark and email. Maximum depth is going to be 15 feet. And we'll be working both by machine and hand. What are we doing? We're installing new pools at the back of 406, 429, and 438. And click on Save. Oop. I understand, okay. That wasn't too hard. What about if you're working from one address to another? That's a little bit harder, but only a little bit. I'm going to click on Add. Let's head back to Toronto. But in this case, we're doing work for Bell. And need to change the municipality from Kenora to Toronto. Go. Now, typically, the work that's given to contractors for Bell is basically start here and there, cable replacement work. In this case, we see this sort of stuff come across our desk as a service wire, PED at number 5, port of entry at number 19 on a given street, for example. And to create this as a selection, we need to do this in a couple steps. First off, we need to start by listing both addresses, a start and stop address. So we're going to do 2 locations. We're going to give 132 Lindy Lou Road in Toronto. Now the cross streets in this instance are Lanyard and Faulkner, not Dave Lane. So I will need to change the cross streets, in fact, to Faulkner. Faulkner Crescent specifically. So let's correct that. I'm going to click Add. The system tells me, yeah, it can't find the address between that it found the address between Lanyard and Davy Lane, or Dave Lane, not Faulkner and Lanyard. But the reason why we have Lanyard is there is because we're also going to be choosing number 174 and adding that to the list. So here we go. There's Lanyard, Davy Lane, Rum Lake, Lindy Lou. And over here, Faulkner. That's why our crossroads are Lanyard and Faulkner. And again, we get to skip the corner lock question. That's great. Our instructions are to replace a main cable on public property from 132 to 174 inclusive. And it seems this cable is not in a conduit and it's reached its end of life. This isn't exactly a whole block, so it doesn't really qualify as project work. And we can do it within 30 days. On the map, you can see we have a start point and end point already available for us. And we can click on the pinpoints if we want more info. There's 174. There's 132. We're going to choose the line tool in this case. We're going to select an area in front of 132 and go all the way over to 174. I'm going to ask for an area a little bit wider than 3 feet. Let's make it 6 feet. And save that. Note that actually changes the thickness of the line. And we're going to now attach that selection. Now, we need to go back. This is a critical step. You need to scroll up on the map, on this particular selection. You need to remove the 2 addresses that are here. If you do not do this step, this very critical step, some owners of infrastructure, some members may get confused and only locate those 2 addresses rather than the span from one to the other. You will not get your locates in a timely manner. So again, this critical step is scroll up and remove the addresses. If we scroll back down, we can see on the map we have a nice selected area from one location to another. Okay, we're going to need to fill in the rest of the information on the ticket. So maximum depth here is going to be 2 feet. Again, it's going to be on public property. The area is going to be pre-marked. We're going to be using machine and hand tools. We will request to mark an email. And this is a cable replacement. Now we need to leave a note describing our work area. If we don't do that, again, no one's going to know what we're looking for. We did mark out the area in white paint. Let's include that first. We are replacing a cable from 132 to 174 Lindy Lou Road, inclusive. And I'm asking to please mark from south sidewalk edge to front property line. And full frontages. For 132. 132 to 174 Lindy Lou Road. And there we go. Spelling Lindy Lou correctly. This needs to be done as soon as possible, so we're going to leave the work to begin date alone. So that's a neat little technique that we've uncovered with the address tool. I found if you use the address pinpoints, it makes your life getting located a little bit easier. But if you have some other techniques, some other ideas as to how to use the address pinpoints to make your life easier, you can send on that example over to solutions@oneCall.com. One thing I wanted to show you is what happens when an address doesn't verify within the system. What does it look like when the pinpoint feels like it's a little lost? How does the system react when it can't find what you're looking for? Well, let's click Add, and we're going to change municipalities again. For this next excavation, we're going to be working for Niagara Parks. I know I've got a lot of clients. And they also happen to be members of Ontario One Call. They helped craft this particular example, so if they're tuning in today, thank you very much for the help. There's this gazebo that's been damaged due to flooding on the waterfront, and it needs a new foundation. So we're going to start inputting things normally. The municipality we're going to be working in is actually Niagara Falls. Here we go. We're going to enter the address of the gazebo, which is 7870. Niagara River Parkway. Here's our first indication that the system's unable to find your location. It actually tells you. It says no address range found. Only new addresses / lot corner or unit corner are allowed. So let's first off do a little bit of research and make sure this place actually exists first. I need to go straight to the City of Niagara Falls web page, which I actually have already pulled up here. And I'm going to put in the address, 7870 Niagara Parkway, River Parkway. Excellent. I'm going to search for that address. So let's see if Niagara Parks is right. Oh. There we go. Success. It does exist. That's fantastic. That's a really good start. I'm going to click on this view map of 7870 Niagara River Parkway. It's just so I can get some better definition as to what exactly I'm going to be looking for when I look at my own map on the One Call side. Here we go. So one cross street is obviously Bucator Drive. Hopefully I've pronounced that correctly. And it looks like the other cross street is Mechanic Street. But here's another problem. Niagara River Parkway changes names to Macklem Street at this location. So, and that's right before Mechanic Street. So this is going to be a little bit fun finding the property. Let's look at the layers here. If I scroll down on these layers, I could find, yes, aerial imagery. And I can find the ones from 2015. And there's my gazebo. And that's the gazebo that needs foundation repair. So we've got all the information we need from this site. Let's head back to the Ontario One Call site, get everything inputted. So cross street number 1 is going to be, is going to be Bukator Drive. Again, hopefully I am pronouncing that correctly. And it's not going to be in the drop-down, but that's fine. Although with the address already filled out, it's really not going to be easy to populate. Oh, there we go. Not going to be easy to populate the system here. We could input the second cross street as well, Mechanic, which again is not going to be in the drop-down. That's okay. And if we scroll back down, yes, the map has actually populated, which is great. Again, we don't need to see a tutorial. That's very obviously not a gazebo. Now we need to pan and zoom until we find that gazebo, which should be just down here, around the corner. There you are, little guy. So let's select the shape tool, draw a shape around the gazebo. Pardon me for a moment, please. Label that gazebo. Now we can click on Attach Sketch. Okay, now we're on to the dig information again. That's great. Here, our maximum depth of excavation is going to be 2 feet. Still on public property. Machine and hand dig. We will pre-mark the area. Type work is going to be foundation, but no services. We'll scroll down a little bit. Mark an email will just be fine. In this case, the area is not marked in white paint. The area is marked with existing gazebo. We are replacing existing gazebo. Down 2 foundations. And I'd like a 2-meter radius around the gazebo in case I need to move anything, like the gazebo. All right, looks pretty good so far. Let's save this. Click I understand and OK. And process. Let's see what we have so far. Well, looks like all of these are going to need to be reviewed by an agent. Well, that's fine. So far, we've talked about requesting a locate using distance and direction, working at one address, multiple addresses, working from one address to another address, and what to do when the system can't find your address. One last scenario should do us. How about something really tough? New subdivisions. How exactly do you select an area that doesn't exactly exist on our maps yet? Well, there's two ways to arrive at the solution. There's an easy way and there's a little bit of a harder way. Let's talk about the harder way first because we chose the easy way the first time. Let's go back home. Now this way is typical for most new subdivision excavators. I start off by creating a project work ticket because the work that I'm doing is going to actually require more than 30 days worth of work. There we go, and take up about a block as well. The contact information here is fine. We're going to be doing work for ABC Homes. We're working in Ancaster, which is a smaller area inside Hamilton. Not Lancaster in South Glengarry. Next, I need to give it some sort of street name. Morrison Street is the street I'm actually going to be working on. So let's type that in. No returns. That's not a surprise. The street's not yet even under construction. Demand for houses is growing. So we're going to be needing to put in some locates, because by the time our locates come back, the road will be there, and we're going to need to start putting in some actual buildings in, some actual houses. I'm going to enter in the crossroads. They're not really going to help me right now. I'm going to need them later on anyway. My first one is Grandel Drive. Yes, that will work just quite well. Okay, now my map will put me in the center of Hamilton. I'm going to need to zoom out a lot. There's Southam. There we go. What we're looking for is Lincoln Alexander Parkway, which is right here. And it's going to link up with 403, which is right there. And there's this blank spot right here southwest of it. Now, the only reason why I know this is because I've got the plans for it, been to the site a couple times, and we've rehearsed how to actually get this locate. If I zoom in, there we go. There's Grandel Drive right there. And our location is south of Whittington and north of this intersection here. Zoom in one more time. There's our location just fine. Well, at least there's Grandel. Now I'm going to use the shape tool, and I'm going to draw roughly where my road is supposed to be. I'm going to select a fairly substantial area because it's not exactly on the map, and I want to be better safe than sorry. Again, drawing bigger is just fine in this particular instance. Just be reasonable with your selection. That's a lot harder than playing around with the civic address function, don't you think? Often these streets aren't on our database until the municipality assumes the road. This can be years after occupation has started. And like I said, there are better ways to do this. So let's start over. Let's go back to the beginning. We're going to click on Home. We're going to quit without saving. We're going to click on Create Project. enter in our excavator code as normal. We're still doing work for ABC Homes. And we're still doing work in Ancaster. Now, some companies, some developers provide Ontario One Call plans or subdivision prior to excavation, months, sometimes years prior to excavation. And they do so by contacting our solutions desk. Again, solutions@on1call.com. And they provide us, again, maps of that new subdivision. This usually happens after municipal consent. In this case, the subdivision owner provided us temporary street names, N Street and L Street. I guess they weren't really available at the time of submission, and no one's really updated them since. However, hopefully the developer has shared this information with others working on the subdivision for everyone's ease of use. N Street is actually Morrison Street, so I will just type in N Street in here. L Street is actually Robarts Drive. And if I type in G, there's Grandel. Robarts Drive hasn't even been excavated yet. Much better. I click on the map refresh for that to come up. And there we are, right in the location where we need to be. Zooms right to the location where I need to go. Saves me a lot of time hunting for that location. In fact, all I need to do is just zoom out and capture the right area. Ah, so simple. There we go. Now, Ontario One Call has been doing this for about a decade now. I would encourage any and all developers who want a cleaner locate process, send in your maps. Contact solutions@on1call.com for more information. And again, if you're able to, communicate with the utilities and other excavators within your work area to let them know these are what the street names are on the One Call system, and this is when they're going to be in, once you have that information from us. Okay, lastly, our maximum depth is going to be 12 feet. It'll be on private property. We're going to be digging by machine. The area is not marked. I will request a mark and email in this instance. The type of work is foundation and services. And we want marked each lot from center line of road to rear property line. And we're doing lots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We're going to be constructing new homes. Putting in landscaping, water, sewer, and fencing. We're probably going to be about 120 days to complete. That should be good. And that about wraps up that project. Let's click Save. And click either. Oh, we need to do one last thing. We need to note I'm about to run out of space there. L Street equals Roberts. Derive. I'm going to click on Save. I'm going to state that I understand the depth waiver and OK. Now let's click Process. See where that goes. And there you go. That ticket got auto-processed. That about wraps up that project. And that also wraps up our scenarios. Thanks for sticking with me. I hope you found some insight and that these tools and techniques will set you up for success in the coming months. And finally, I want to congratulate the excavation community. You and your peers asked for these features to be added to the OneCall system. All aspects of Ontario OneCall work hard to make sure every one of your excavations is as safe and as efficient as possible. We just want you to keep the lines of communication open. Thank you all for attending this training for our July 2017 changes to Ontario OneCall. We trust that you found this educational. Again, once training is completed, Ontario OneCall will create an FAQ covering all pertinent questions and email a copy of that FAQ directly to you. Further, we will post a copy of that FAQ to our website. If you think of further questions after today, feel free to contact us at solutions@on1call.com. That is ON, the number 1, CALL.com. As always, dig safe and have an excellent day.